So we have one more guest coming up here from the Rainbow in our final hour, and we are going to welcome him to the stage right now. I'm excited to talk to this guy for the first time ever. It's extremely rare for me after doing this for so long to interview someone I've never met or interviewed before, but I'm certainly a fan of his work with the band Soundgarden. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome to the stage now here on the patio at the Rainbow for the LA Invasion from Soundgarden guitarist Kim Thayil. Give it up, everybody. There he is. Good to meet you, man. Let me get you wired up first, because we got a lot to cover here. We got a lot to get into. I don't think we have some mutual friends, but I don't think we've ever met, man.
No, we haven't. It's crazy.
It is crazy, and I've certainly never interviewed you before, even on the phone or anything. And it's great to finally do this. I know I reached out to you
Through Ben.
Weinman,
yeah.
but also, and I can totally relate to this. We talked once about doing an interview a couple years ago, and I remember you came back to me, or Ben did, and said, well, Pacific time, your show starts at 11 a.m., and Kim ain't up at that time. And I can relate, man, because I'm nocturnal too, but you keep late hours, don't you?
I have. Up until the past year, I keep almost normal hours.
Do you really?
Yeah.
What changed?
I became a farmer.
A farmer?
Yeah, a banker. One of the two.
A banker and a farmer?
No, I just have a different social life and people in my life that are motivating in different ways.
Well, I believe, I'm a guy that, I feel like start your day as long as you. I still put in a ton of time working. I just don't like to start it before 10 or 11 if I can help it.
Who wants to? I know.
My favorite hours are late at night, between 11 and 2 a.m. ish.
Sunrise.
House is quiet.
Yeah.
My kids are sleeping. Everything's quiet.
Yeah.
It's my time,
Reading, playing guitar, listening to music.
No fighting for who's watching what on the TV. It's all good. So we got a lot to talk to you about. First and foremost, congratulations on your nomination for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
It's always a weird thing, and I've said this to a lot of artists, when you're in this mode, because you're kind of halfway there, so you can't be too celebratory because you're not in yet, but you're finally showed up on the ballot. Was it something that you guys were thinking about? Is it something that's important to you? What are your thoughts on it?
Honestly, it was never something that was in. It was never an objective or anything that was, in our view. For, I'm trying to be diplomatic here. It's hard to regard that if you're, punk rock guy or metal guy. It's hard to think about these kind of entertainment institutions as being anything but that. Over the past few years, though, the perspective changed as members of the band. Chris, I believe, went inducted Heart.
Right.
I know Ben attended, and then of course Matt went in with Pearl Jam. The perspective that they related to everybody was the fact that it was incredibly significant for the fans, and that they themselves experienced that kind of enthusiasm, from the fans. And they said it's a whole different thing. Is that we might have our own view about our identity and our relationship with ourselves and with our fans, but there's something that we perhaps got caught up in while brooding. So and Chris said it's amazing. He said it's amazing the way the fans were with Heart, with the other bands. It's a really cool experience, and I think for no other reason, if we're not motivated by each other for this, we certainly should be for the for the fan base.
Yeah, well, I think, and I'm a voter, and I've been to a few inductions, and I can tell you that all the artists I've talked to, it's very much about the fans. It's about that validation that the fans feel seeing the band that they love up there and going in. It's really a huge fan moment. I've talked to a lot of artists that come off the stage, and sometimes they're like, wow, the enormity of it hit me when I was up there. And then, frankly, some have said to me, it was what it was, but it was great for them, meaning the fans. So there's different perspectives about it, for sure.
I mean, I should have understood that. I remember at some point saying, "Yeah, why isn't Kiss and Rush in there?"
Right.
And then I still think, why isn't the MC5 in?
Well, I was just going to bring that up. Turning the table for you, because they're on the ballot as well. Again, I said on the air a couple weeks ago, they're like the Susan Lucci of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because they've been on like four times and they haven't gotten
It's
there.
their fifth, right? Their fifth nomination.
I think this is their fifth. Now, you actually played with Wayne Kramer, right?
Yes, all last year, 3 months, touring with what was called the MC50. It was the 50th anniversary of the
Right.
MC5, or the 50th anniversary of recording the album "Kick Out the Jams," which you guys got to know that, and if you don't know it, and the cool thing about that is we got to go back to Detroit on the day the Zenta New Year, when the original album was recorded around Halloween, right? So the goal was for us to play in Detroit around that period of time to celebrate that 50th anniversary. And I thought, okay, well, Detroit has an odd significance here, and I should probably go. And it's my favorite band. Love this album, love this song. And that's what we did. 2 months in the U.S., a month in Europe, and this past couple of months, we did a week in September in the U.S., and we just did 2 weeks in the U.K. opening for Alice Cooper and the Stranglers. So,
Oh wow, super Detroit, sort of vibe there. But who else was in that band? Was Doug Pinnick was in it too, right?
Doug was originally. We did a few. Spaced out. Yeah, we did. We did some festival shows a year ago, last summer in Europe, like 4 of them, and it culminated with us playing "Kick Out the Jams" with Pearl Jam at the Werchter Festival in Belgium. I believe that was it. I mean, you're acquainted with that.
No, I don't know those festivals over there, but
It's this huge thing. It was like 80,000 people.
Right.
We had played it once. We did a great bill in 2014 with Metallica, us, Mastodon, Gojira, and Ghost, and that was our introduction to the band Ghost, which was amazing to see then. So this one was Pearl Jam and a bunch of other bands, and we got to go up there and the entire MC5 or the MC50 joined them on stage and did Kick Out the Jams.
yeah. I saw Wayne play here in L.A. at the Troubadour. Stone Temple Pilots did their first show with their new singer to introduce their new singer, Jeff, and he came out and jammed with them at the end. Let me ask you this, because obviously we're going to talk about some Soundgarden stuff, but I'm curious about this. So clearly you said they're your all-time favorite band,
Yeah.
MC5. So why do you think, I maintain that the reason why they kind of haven't gotten over that hump and actually gotten in yet is because the amount of commercial success they've had is fairly limited. So they're not a household name.
Right.
They don't have a dozen hit singles. So the general public doesn't know them that well. But what makes them? Here's Kim Thayil doing the induction to the hypothetical. Which could work out great. Soundgarden gets in, they get in. You could go induct them. Give us the case.
Probably the proto metal band and the proto punk band, and probably the proto Springsteen band. Prior to them, when did Kick Out the Jams come out? Right, 68. There's Hendrix, Our Experience. There was some stuff that the Beatles were doing. There's some Velvet Underground stuff and the Sonics, of course, that were kind of kicking around the sort of garage punk and the heavier, distorted guitar vibe. And when that album came out, it was crazy. I mean, it's just like, it was wild, chaotic. It was heavy. It was the liner notes from John Sinclair for the White Panthers Party was all about, he was referencing dope, guns, and fucking in the streets. Kick Out Jams of Motherfuckers. I mean, 1968. It was just badass. And from there on, they did music that was also kind of heavy but pop oriented. You know what I mean? Like, what I mean by pop oriented was, kind of 3-minute songs, and these really heavy, tight guitar oriented packages. They influenced metal bands from that period. They influenced punk rock bands out of that period. You have the Stooges, you have the Dolls that are either concurrent with the MC5 or following that lineage. But you're probably wondering how I can justify the Springsteen argument. and the producer of MC5's Kick Out the Back in USA, the second album, was, oh my God, what's the guy's name?
Not John Landau.
Yes, Landau.
John Landau?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So he produced Back in USA, and there's a song there written by Fred Sonic Smith called it's not American Ruse. Oh, Shakin' Street. you guys just Google Shaking Street, and the lyrics reference these kind of nicknamed local guys and girls in Fred's world, and the way it flows, and there's a little shimmer to it that is so like early Springsteen and Landau Springsteen. And you listen to that song, it's like, that's where it came from. The whole kind of, referencing your bros and sisters
Yeah.
by nickname.
Yeah, yeah. Great stuff here. So let's do a break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to get into some Soundgarden talk, because there's a brand new, incredible package, which we have actually right here for people to see, this mammoth box set. And as a guy who loves stuff in physical form, this has got everything in it, from vinyl to CD to Blu-ray. We're going to talk about this when we come back. This is Soundgarden live at the Artist Den, which I believe is out now, right? This is available now. We're going to get into some talk about this concert, which took place in 2013, just down the street at the Wiltern. And we'll talk some Soundgarden when we come back. Live from the Rainbow and the LA Invasion with Kim Thayil of Soundgarden. It's Eddie Trunk. This is Trunk Nation. Coming right back. We got a lot. We're doing some catching up during the commercial break. Kim was telling me that he used to watch that metal show all the time. He's like, damn, why am I not on that? We tried, man. We would have loved to have had you on.
I think we're usually on tour or promoting whatever tours promote when you were out of production.
Right, yeah, because there were times we only did like 8 or 10 shows for a whole year, so it was like needle in a haystack to pick people off. But who knows, if one of these days we get another run at it, you'll be our lead guest. How about that?
Oh, that'd be fantastic. I would totally do that.
Yeah, we would love to have you. So anyway, we got you here on Trunk Nation, and we're talking about live from the Artist Den. Now, you were just telling me this amazing box set, which is numbered and has vinyl and CD and Blu-ray and all that you actually have this, but you've yet to open your own box set.
I have a bunch of copies. My living situation is a little bit different. I have a lot of boxes that are unopened that I moved in there that have been sent to me over the past half year. And that was one that I intended to look at because I supervise the artwork and packaging with Josh Graham, Soundgarden's artist, house artist for the past 9 years. Josh of Neurosis.
Okay.
And Storm of Light. He's the graphics guy. And then Jeff Fura, our A&R guy at Universal. So the three of us kind of went through that whole thing, picking out photos and looking at his graphics. And Josh came up with a great package. We moved it around a little bit, you're always balancing, aesthetic content with informational content. And we came up with that package that we thought would rule. And I haven't opened it yet, so
all right. Well,
I hope it does.
Here's what we're going to do. Okay, here's what we'll do at the Rainbow. And I had, with the kids today, the unboxing videos are all the rage.
I've seen them.
So we're going to do an unboxing of this thing so Kim can see his box set opened up for the first time here at the Rainbow. So we're going to get to that in a second, and we'll let Kim give us the rundown of what's in it. But before we do that, talk about this show in particular. It was the last show of the tour for in 2013, right?
Yeah. So we always had a lot of stuff up in the air. So I think at that point, King Animal had come out, and we probably had reissued, I think, Ultra Mega OK. We had remastered Ultra Mega OK and moved it from SST Records over to Sub Pop. And then, of course, King Animal, our last original studio album. So we were touring and playing almost that entire album. And some of that stuff was far more difficult to play live than we had originally, estimated. And we pulled it off. And when I listened to it in retrospect, it's like, I can't believe that we all did that.
2.5 hour set, and there's a lot of things on here that have never been on a shot on film, right? Before, set list wise, above and beyond the King Animal stuff, there's stuff on here from Ultra Mega. There's like the whole gamut. This is like kind of like This Is Your Life Soundgarden.
That's why it's so long, because our sets tended to be an hour 45, 2 hours, and so we didn't want to take anything out. We added the King Animal material, but we still wanted to do the songs that were fun for us to play, and then the songs that were, the video or radio hits. So it's like, we got to do this. We got to play Beyond the Wheel. We got to play Slaves and Bulldozers. We got to play Jesus Christ Pose. And so we want to play the new album. We want to just exercise that. cut our teeth on these riffs and make sure we can do it live. And yeah, it seemed to work. It was great.
It's hard to believe when we talk about King Animal, which is the last record. It's hard to believe that we're talking 6, 7 years ago, because this concert is 6 years old, right? That's on here.
I know.
2013.
I know. It sucks.
Well, it sucks, but it doesn't suck that you've got a tremendous document of it like this. Like if you think about bands you love or bands that I love, and you could tell somebody that 30 years in the future, you're going to have this amazing document, audio and video, to live one of their best moments on stage and one of their best concert sets. I mean, that's a pretty darn cool thing to think about. Like when we were young, I don't have a great professional video of Aerosmith on the Rocks tour, but I would love something like this from Aerosmith Rocks or UFO Strangers in the Night or what have you. So to have this is really a cool thing for legacy, I would think.
We thought so, and thank you for praising it, as a fan. And it's wow. I didn't remember that it was 2.5 hours set. We did that the whole tour. So, yeah, we're not Bruce Springsteen and we're not Pearl Jam, but we managed to play longer than we could normally sustain it. So. And louder.
And louder, yeah, for sure.
And jiggle up the tempos and time signatures just enough so you can't dance, but you got to breathe.
Are there moments on here that are standouts for you personally? I know you haven't opened it yet, but you did it, you lived it. You look at the track listing.
Well,
are there some things on there for you musically that were key moments?
We were all pretty self-critical, so I just remember the moments which I came in subpar. So I won't tell you where they are, but I'm sure someone will write me. Kim. So I just remember things like, oh man, so it was better the night before. So
Well, talk about a little bit about the guitar interplay between the playing of you and Chris when Chris would play guitar.
Historically, or this show?
Well, historically, how did you guys work that out as you went forward?
Well, it's real easy at the beginning because he was our drummer, so I was the only guitarist. So I wrote the guitar parts, Hero wrote the bass parts, Chris wrote the drum parts. And Chris and Hero kind of juggled up lyrics, because the philosophy grad had no lyrical ideas apparently. So, and that was great. We all had our roles, and we defined our sound that way, and that's how we initially played live. But we were a guitar-oriented band because of that. So then everyone started writing guitar riffs, like, here, Kim, do this, and eventually we got Matt, same deal. He would write on guitar, so I would kind of learn their quirks and their particular personality and the way they wrote and performed, and it was good for me. I got to adapt and grow as a guitarist by coming up with the guitar stylings of 2 different drummers and a bass player, and that lasted. And then Chris started singing. Right, we got a drummer. Chris went up front. You guys have to hear this story if you hadn't heard it. Chris wanted to either drum or sing. It was too difficult to do both because we're playing songs in 5/4 and then 7/4. It's like, man, could we guys get a singer? Or I'd love to sing. Could we find another drummer? We thought, we'll find a singer because we love the way you write as a drummer. So we're doing stuff in 5 and 7. It's natural for you. You can come up. You can write the lyrics. It's amazing. We don't want to lose that. We want you to be our drummer so we can keep this music going. Going. We'll find a singer. We can still write the lyrics and come up with the melody. That was me and Hero's reasoning at the time. We're gonna find a singer.
You're gonna take a microphone out of Chris Cornell's hands.
Yes, this doesn't appear in retrospect to well, it would not have been a wise decision, but it seemed brilliant at the time. It's like, we're going to continue writing this cool stuff. We did continue writing the cool stuff. Chris brought in a buddy of his from work who was an old punk rock guy who's really into the Dead Kennedys and the Black Flag. And we thought, all right, he's cool and he can drink a bunch. And he became our drummer, and Chris was freed up to sing. Then gradually, as everyone's writing, he would introduce songs, and he would go ahead and play them while Hero and I watched and kind of learned, the groove, and then he would sing along while he's playing it. So it's like, well, I'll just play this part during the set, and he'd play the parts that didn't interfere and the parts that made the song open up with two guitars. A lot of our friends' bands had two guitars, like Mudhoney, Green River, Mother Love Bone. But then a lot of our buddies had single guitars, like the Melvins, Malfunction. So we kind of did it as the song required, and the more Chris wrote, because of the weird timing, he needed to cue his voice by hearing that chord, and he knew where he would pitch, and he could get the rhythm by moving as lead singers do when they play guitar from the elbow. From what I noticed, lead guitars move with their wrist, and the singers move with their elbow because you're counting it out, right?
So you're saying that him playing guitar was also something that was beneficial to the way he sang.
Totally.
It drove his voice to some degree.
Help orient him in the song, both by pitch and by rhythm.
Because the thing about when anybody mentions Chris, the first thing that comes to mind is his voice, obviously,
Yeah.
and just how incredible it is. But I think the guitar playing part of what he did and the way it worked with your playing, I think is something that kind of got overlooked a little bit because his voice is so incredible.
Yeah, I think so. I think, initially I thought it was in the way. I thought, no, I can do this. It's like, oh, man.
Initially, you didn't even want him to sing.
Yeah, exactly.
You didn't want him to have a mic.
But, initially it's like, okay, you're playing guitar for yourself. It is filling out the song, but I kind of felt like it was knocking things down a notch. I had to try to make sure that I accommodated the song with two guitars playing. So for instance, if you're just playing with a linear, bass riff, you can play all kinds of modes and do little intervals here and there, riffing off of the bass, and you can kind of screw around more. But if there's a chord there, you want to kind of stay in that chord, and with those three, notes, and it's a little bit limiting, and it felt that way at first, as asshole guitarists will feel. But he became such a damn good guitarist. Anyone who could sing and play Rusty Cage, okay, that's a badass guitarist.
Yeah.
There's just no way around it.
Yeah.
There's no guitar solos in that song because it's crazy.
Yeah.
I'll do one day, and then we'll see. But he became so damn good, and because of that, because of his drumming instincts, and then it was just fantastic. And it went from inhibiting me to actually liberating me. It's like, you got this, I'm going to go over here. And I could just screw around. I could fuck up as much as I wanted to because he had it.
Yeah. All right, so let's do this right now because there's a lot more I want to talk about, but I don't want to run out of time without doing our unboxing, which the kids call it, of course, live from the Artist Den. We've got this here. Now, Alex, come up here. You're going to have to – Alex is helping us produce here. You're going to have to help because Kim and I are both holding microphones, so we're going to need you to open it. And as you open the box, do it like you youngsters do it, Alex, slowly, so that we can really take it in. Alex is frantically ripping the cellophane off.
Make love to the box.
Yeah, he's on his knees on the carpet, practically doing that. And, okay, so here we go. The cover is obviously a shot. Kim, you did this. You put all this work into it. Take us through it. So this is the cover. This is the Wiltern, right?
Josh went out there, got a nice photo of the Wiltern, an original photo, and then he through his graphic magic, airbrushing and manipulating the color, came up with that sort of stormy
really cool
image. It is. That's just, if you go to stormoflight.com and you check out his website. He's done stuff for a lot of bands, a lot of live productions, and he's got a distinct aesthetic, and it totally fits with us.
All right. Now where do we go from here, Alex? Oh, I see it slides open like that. Okay.
But yeah, if you tear the little cover paper off, you'll get the actual.
Do we want to do that? This is just for the retail purposes, right?
Yeah.
We want to see this.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I see.
So the packaging there is a more classic.
Oh, I
and
got
muted.
you. Okay, right. So this was so people who are buying it can see the track listing
Yeah, exactly.
and all that.
That's
Okay.
a point of purchase
Right.
display.
This is like the cardboard box portion of the CD box. All right.
But you got to save that,
yeah, of course.
just like the Love Gun.
For sure. Yeah, good point. I knew I liked this guy. All right, so now we take the top off, and what do we got here? This would be okay. So these are the vinyl. How many albums did it take to put this thing on this full concert?
Oh, jeez.
There's probably about eight, eight albums in here.
I think it's is it quadruple vinyl? I'm pretty sure, and it's like 3 CDs. I think.
Okay, so you got now each. Yeah, well, each vinyl
or 2 CDs.
As we pull the vinyl out, each vinyl. Look at this.
Yeah, there's a Chris, there's a Ben, there's a me, and there's a Matt.
And a Matt. Look at that, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen. That is so. Wait a minute. Now you just pulled the Kiss card on me. So we all know that when we were kids, you're of the Army as well.
Well, that one should be blue because that's me and that's Ace.
Oh, you are hardcore. Oh, wow. All right. So you know that
and I'm kind of particular to blue.
So kind of like. Hold on, I'll give you one. Kind of like the posters in the 4 solo albums. You could assemble them like a puzzle.
Yes.
The jackets to the 4 covered. Look at this. I can't do this because I'm holding a mic, but you get the idea. All right, so there are 4 albums.
Now, I'm guilty, but I don't think our artist Josh was thinking that way.
No, probably not. Probably not, but we are, so that's all that matters. All right, now here's the all-important booklet. Tell us about the booklet, or you're seeing it for the first time, so I'm realizing you just realized.
Yeah, I think my experience with this booklet was laptop and handheld, just number of pages.
All right, so we got amazing photos though. The colors are just the resolution's incredible. Mm-hmm. Great photos. So a great photo book essentially for the benefit of radio and the people listening, a really incredible album jacket size, full color book of all the photos from the Will Turn that night.
I think there's some decent information and credits. No lyric sheet.
Okay. All right. And then we have here, still my favorite format, the CD, ladies and gentlemen. Look at them, pristine, glistening, in all their beauty.
I believe there's a DVD in there too.
A Blu-ray.
Blu-ray. Is that what the kids call it?
That's what that's important because you got to have a Blu-ray player to see this. As I found out in my hotel when I tried to watch it because my computer doesn't play Blu-rays. So you got a Blu-ray, which is the best you can watch something in. Look at this. You got a ticket stub.
I forgot about that.
Not a ticket stub, a full ticket.
Where does it get me?
Not into the Will Turn tonight. You've got a laminate.
Yeah, that's our laminate. Let's see.
Is that the real one? Is that the real one, or that's a reproduction?
Yeah, that was our laminate.
Okay.
Cool.
And we got a great photo of Chris here. Oh, everybody. We got again, look at this. Lithos is... All right. We got 4 lithos of each band member. Anything else, Alex? Any other goodies? Shake it out. Make sure. Wow.
The bubble gum. Where's the bubble gum?
So basically, you've got everything you could possibly want there. You got a ticket, you got a laminate, you got the whole show on CD, the whole show on vinyl, and the whole show on Blu-ray. Watch, listen in any format you want. Really, really impressive. Soundgarden live from the Artist Den, available now, and we just did the official unboxing. What do you think of your work, Kim? Are you happy with it? Are you happy now that you've seen it? Sorry.
Yeah, I forgot about the laminate to the ticket. That's our laminate from the tour. That's pretty cool.
Live from the Artist Den is out now. Soundgarden is on the ballot, folks, is nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And there's fan voting that's going on. And you know what you got to do. You go to, Alex, what is it again? RockHallOfFame.com. Tell me what the... RockHall.com. That's where you go to do the fan voting.
If you're the best fan in the world.
Right, which would mean, in this instance, a Soundgarden fan.
Of course.
Or an MC5 fan, I'm sure you would urge too, right?
That's double vote. I'll play both gigs.
Exactly. Well, I got a whole theory.
Matt will play both gigs. How about that?
I got a whole night laid out for you, Kim. You guys get inducted, and then you go induct MC5. It'll be perfect. You could play with each other. It'll be perfect.
We already play with each other, but you get MC5 and a Soundgarden, and how about that? Soundgarden backs up Wayne Kramer, and we tear it up.
That would be pretty badass. Let me ask you this. It's been, talking about time flying by, it's hard to believe it's been over 2 years since we lost Chris. How have you and the band, grappled with that in the last couple years? I mean, I know had to be incredibly tough at first, but over the last couple years, you've done I was at the Forum. I caught some of the Forum, which was a brilliant night, an amazing night. But how's it been for you guys now as time's gone by a little bit?
The Forum was a brilliant night. It was well organized. They pulled it off great. The booking agents and the crew, both house, local, and the band's crew. It went off well. It was special. It's a little bit overwhelming certainly for the band, on a personal and emotional level. And we kind of knew it would be. We were a little bit hesitant, but there were so many beneficial aspects to that evening that it went great. It's uncomfortable. It's weird. It's people grieve differently, and this isn't the way Soundgarden is, but we certainly respect the fact that our friends were there and supporting us, and the Soundgarden family was there supporting us and supporting and each other and the other bands and ultimately remembering Chris's legacy. And that was very important and very moving and a little bit tough.
Yeah, it was, having been there, and I was only there for about half of the night because I had flown in that day, and I didn't even realize that the timing of it, and I landed at LAX.
Why didn't you say hi?
Well, I didn't see you. It was crazy backstage, and
you were on the wrong wing. Our side was really quiet.
Was it?
Yeah, we kind of kept people away.
Because I walked in. What happened was I landed.
You're the rock and roll wing.
Yeah, I didn't realize. Well, who got me in and walked me in was Morello, because Tom's a good friend.
Yeah.
So I texted Tom and I said, I just landed at LAX. Is it still going? And he goes, not only is it going, it's going to be going late. He goes, get over here. So I run over. I went in the side. Somebody walked me in. And I walked through that tunnel or the backstage, and it was like a scene out of Almost Famous or something, man. Everyone, like every step you took, there's that guy.
Those
there's
guys,
that guy.
Metallica.
Everybody was there.
There's a nice quiet wing, which was us and the Pearl Jam guys and Melvins and.
Oh, you had that locked down because I didn't see that at all.
It was nice and quiet.
Oh, you guys, you're smart. You had that. But let me ask you this: was that night recorded? Were those performances shot or recorded in any way?
I believe some of it may have been. We were not interested in that because it's for various reasons, emotionally, sentimentally, and we certainly wouldn't want that kind of situation to. It's an ambivalent feeling. It's like we don't want to exploit our sentiments, but at the same time, we want to champion the event.
And there was a charitable component, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
So there was that element of it, and the just the mix of people that came out. I mean, I remember I was standing back in that tunnel, and people were debating like, "Oh my God, who's going to go for trying to sing that?" That was always the big line, like, "Who's going to go out and try to tackle that one?"
This is going to sound weird, but Crush It that night.
I think I know what you're going to say.
Yes.
Miley Cyrus?
Miley Cyrus destroyed. That was great. Miguel did a great job, too. I mean, everyone did a great job, but, yeah, Miley Cyrus did great.
Yeah, I was stunned by that, too. I was like, whoa, that's some amazing stuff.
It wasn't just technically good. It was emotive, and
right.
She nailed that. It was pretty good.
How did you feel on stage?
Like I always do, a little bit nervous, have a few beers, and say, fuck it, let's go. But it's still heavy. I don't know. We had friends of ours supporting us. There's a missing seat.
Right. Right.
We had our friends there, so.
Yeah, it was a very powerful night, and I was on the air here doing this that's why I came to town. I was doing this from this patio the day after. So the night after, so I was able to recap it. And I texted Morello. I said, "You got to come over and talk about last night." So Tom came and sat in the whole time and told how incredibly powerful it was for him too. And it was definitely a celebration of Chris. But then you of course had that underlying feeling that everybody had of missing him and knowing the finality of it. But I think as far as for what it was, it couldn't have gone better.
I think logistically, great deal. It went off great. I think we're a little bit behind schedule, but that was to be expected. And it was people stayed until the end, which was, our playing, which was it was amazing. Everyone was there except for the label reps that have to go to work the next day, and
Right.
well, the guys that wanted to catch
Right.
Metallica or Foo Fighters, but which were label reps.
Right.
So.
Right. After Chris passed, you said, I know you guys came out as a band in, I guess, about a year ago and basically said, because there was some time and you needed some time where you came out and you basically said, Soundgarden as we know it is done, the band is done. And you basically put a finality in the future of the band. So that was about a year ago. Is that still where you stand?
Well, I mean, reasonably, you got a big part missing. So I think in terms of the Soundgarden catalog, that's still going to be active as best as it can be in terms of unreleased recordings, live material. I'm still going to attend to that. That's my gig. I love that. Let's make records. In terms of, I do not see, given the commitments that other band members have, given our sentiments and love for Chris, I do not see us reconfiguring a tour or anything as other bands have done in the past without him.
Yeah, I mean that's why. If you were asked to be asked a question like that, say 20 years ago of a band, you would be even certainly 30 years ago. It's like back in those days, a band lost the drummer, and it was like over.
Yeah.
We're done. We
Zeppelin's
can't play.
over, yeah.
Right. We won't. Exactly. Great example.
Isn't the Who playing tonight?
I don't know if they're playing tonight, but
But it's a half a Who, right?
we exactly. So they're in that's the only reason why, and it's not out of any level of disrespect for what everyone knows what Chris brought to it. But we've seen examples. Who would think Alice in Chains would still be out there doing what they're
that
doing?
blew me away, and that's amazing.
Right, there you go.
Well,
There's a precedent for it, is my point.
this is really complicated, but you want to. This is a guy I've known Chris since I was a kid. Basically, we grew up together. Our early 20s, and he was a teenager. You want to honor the work and legacy you did. Is it best to regard it and with dignity and let it rest? Do you want to honor it by celebrating the music and work that he's done? At this point, and this has been difficult for a lot of people in the family and the band, and I think our conclusion was that. Now I understand people are complicated, and experience in life is a bag of tricks, but I don't know. I think we reached a conclusion that we thought was correct. But then again, 20, 30 years ago, we didn't think the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was anything. But certainly looking back, it's an important part of our legacy, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is, to acknowledge that, and now it's important.
Let me ask you this. King Animal, widely regarded as the final Soundgarden record, but you guys had been working
Final
on the
studio album.
studio record. Well, right, because we have this now. and maybe other stuff coming down the pike. But you guys were working on more material, right? There was
Yeah.
more stuff. What can
Yes.
you tell us about? Is it possible that another
is
Soundgarden studio
entirely
record could
possible.
be put together?
Yes, it is entirely possible.
So how much stuff was done?
Because that's what we were doing.
Right.
So, how much stuff was done?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we definitely have another record in us. There was
That Chris did enough vocally to cut.
yeah, stuff that's written, stuff that's demoed and recorded. Certainly, all it would need is to take the audio files that are available. I tighten up the guitar stuff that's on there, add other stuff. Ben does the bass. Matt, is able to, get the drums he wants. We get the producers we want that make it sound like a Soundgarden record. And yes, we can totally do that.
Is there an obstacle stopping that?
There shouldn't be. There really isn't, other than the fact that we don't have those files.
The audio of his voice, his vocal track.
Yeah, because that's
Not under your
Yeah.
auspices. Is that okay? So hypothetically, if somewhere down the line that was made available to you, a record could be put together.
yeah, definitely. And I think that will happen. It would be it'd be ridiculous if it didn't. But these are difficult things, partnerships and property.
I get you. Yeah, I got what you're saying. So, and one other thing now on all these reissues, do you enjoy doing this? Because I've got Super
Yes.
Unknown, Bad
Yes.
Motorfinger. There's a great box set on. You love
I
digging
Super
back.
Motorfinger love doing this.
What's the next one you're going to tackle? What else is coming?
Well, Louder Than Love, which we're currently in the 30th anniversary of Louder Than Love. I'm sorry, but we're probably going to have to look at the 31st anniversary for a Louder Than Love box set. It wasn't our biggest selling record because it was like major label debut, and the indie things on SST and Sub Pop got more press. But miraculously, there's a lot of material out there around that body of work. B-sides and demos, and so.
And is your stuff, because your catalog was under the Universal umbrella, right?
Yeah.
There was a lot of news made about the fire. Is your stuff okay, or do you not know? Because in order to do this, you need
Most of our stuff is okay.
You need the tapes in order to do this, right? You
Yeah.
need the masters.
We have it.
You have them.
Yeah.
So you're good.
We're good with Louder Than Love.
You don't.
Super Unknown box set came out too.
When we get to Down
the
on the
Bad Motor-
Upside, do we have a question mark there? Or
Well, no. So we do have Down on the Upside. The thing is, okay, so do we have enough time?
we got about 60. We got about 2 minutes
Okay,
before we have to wrap.
Real quick. The story is, in the original days, given our band's age, we made records for vinyl. But the CD market took over in the late 80s and 90s. We were that band that now had to learn how to orient its product towards CD, which is what the record company wanted to do. They wanted to put out CDs, cheaper to ship, cheaper to store, takes up less retail space. Here's the format we want. Can you guys do that? They don't tell you that. Instead, they make you sign contracts where they give you the royalties on vinyl, lower rates for CDs and cassette, and then they push those formats and cut out vinyl. Like when oh God, man, we need more than 2 minutes. But the Sony buys CBS and
Right.
Philips buys Polygram, and they're the guys making CDs. They discontinue vinyl. So we have to now orient making records for these other formats. They want more material for CD. Well, we're not making material just to ditch.
You're making
for-
what comes from you at that time, right?
So we started making more stuff, and then they want things for international markets, for B-sides. Echo of Miles. Echo of Miles is our collection of all that extra material that didn't fit on the album, stuff that went international or soundtrack. So all the studio stuff, and there's 50 songs on there, you know, oddities, covers, and like about 20 originals that aren't on any album. We put them on an album, so check out Echo Miles. Yeah, so it became different. By the time Down the Upside came along, it's like, here, we were making double albums because we didn't want to take stuff off. Super Unknown, double.
Right.
Down the Upside, double. King Animal, almost. So
I hate to do this. I got to cut you because they're going to cut me off because we're out of time.
no B-sides.
No
Not many
B-sides. Kim Thayil, everybody. Check out Live from the Artist Den. Thank you so much. We got way more we got to do another time, my friend.
भूल न गई जान पियावा घर जाई के भूल न गई जान पियावा घर जाई के प्यार में तो हरे है प्यार में तो हरे हम जहर खाई के भूल न गई जान पियावा घरे जाई के भूल न गई जान पियावा घरे जाई के कैसे भूल पैबू जान बगिया उतलैया हो अचके में आके ऊ पकड़ल हमर बहिया हो कैसे भूल पैबू जान बगिया उतलैया हो अचके में